Welcome to my free YouTube ads course for beginners for 2022. This video is for you if you want to learn how to profitably advertise on YouTube. I'm also going to send you a free guide on how to script your YouTube ads in 2022. So if you want that, just comment below and then my team will send it over to you via DM. In this free course, you learn how to script and shoot YouTube ads. You learn how to set up your first campaign. You learn how to set up tracking. You learn how to analyze your results, and more. Now, before we get into the actual course, I want to first talk about why YouTube. See, YouTube is the world's second biggest search engine after Google.com. So it's a massive traffic source. There's just so much traffic to be had on there and people spend a lot of time on YouTube. Also, you can target people on YouTube based on what they search on Google.com. So you're leveraging Google's cross-network power. This is because Google owns YouTube. So when you run YouTube ads, you're actually running it through the Google ad network. The quality of leads is also quite high because a lot of people on YouTube are in education mode. So you can actually target them based on the videos they're watching or target them based on the keywords they searched on Google.com. And there are so many targeting options that allow you to target really high quality leads that convert really well. So YouTube leads often convert at a higher rate because they're often in education mode. So if you have an average YouTube user, if they want to learn how to, for example, lift weights, they're going to go on YouTube and search up how to do a bench press or how to do a squat safely. And those people are actually really great customers because they're already in the process of learning about whatever you're going to teach them. So if you're selling courses, this is incredibly powerful. Even if you're selling e-commerce products, this also works really well. So for example, if you are selling a snoring solution device, then you can target people who are watching videos about how to fix snoring. So because of that ability to target based on the content or their search intent, YouTube is a really powerful platform. And video ads also allow you to pre-sell them before they even arrive onto your website or your landing page. The reason why is because video allows you to build a stronger connection. As they say, an image is worth 1,000 words and video is probably worth 100,000 words, right? Because video is just three-dimensional. It allows them to see and understand so much about your product much faster than text and images. Because of that, video is just an incredible marketing tool and YouTube is all about video. All right, guys, so the first step in starting your YouTube ads journey is to actually set up your Google Ads account. So if you haven't already set up your Google Ads account, I'm going to jump right into a screen share. If you've already set it up, you can skip this portion and then jump to a few minutes later, but we're gonna jump into the screen share and set up your Google Ads account now. Now, when you're setting up a Google Ads account to run your YouTube ads, you really want to do things under an MCC account. So what an MCC account is, it's basically like a manager account where you can create sub-accounts underneath, you can add other accounts underneath it, and it allows you to essentially create multiple accounts easily. And it's really a risk mitigation strategy. It also makes organization easy if you're running multiple ad accounts. It's just a lot safer to do it. Think of it as a Facebook business manager, right? But the Google version of it. So what you want to do is you want to come to this URL, which is ads.google.com/home/tool/manage accounts. There'll be a link below to that. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna create a manager account. So the manager account just makes life so much easier. You just basically sign into your Google Ads account here. Okay, so once you log in, you'll have your business information here. You'll put in your account display name. So you could put in Linx Digital LLC, test. And if you're an agency, you want to definitely click on this. If you're doing your own ads, you could do this. And then obviously choose your billing country. For me, it's the US. And the currency as well. So obviously wherever you're running ads and whatever your bank is, you want to choose that. You'll click submit. So I'm not gonna actually click submit because I don't wanna create an account here because we use this account for a lot of our own stuff. But essentially what happens once you do create an account is, I'm gonna show you, is you're gonna essentially be here. So you're gonna have your MCC account. As you can see, I have a bunch of accounts in here. So once you're in here, you've created your MCC account, you can create new accounts fairly easily. So all you do is you go to accounts over here. You click this plus button. So once you click this plus button, you could create a new manager account underneath your MCC, which is pretty cool. You can link an existing account where you put in the account ID. So if you have existing ad accounts, you can add it to MCC. And then you can click create new account, which is what I'm assuming you'll be doing. So when you click create new account, you'll add in the name. You'll add in the country. So I'm gonna do United States. And you can add in users, save and continue. So then you'll go in here. So you'll have your, basically your account billing information that you can add in here. And yeah, now you've created an account. You can look for it based on the title you had. So right over here. Okay, so now you've created an account, you click onto it, you get in here, you'll click new campaign, because you basically need to go through this step before you can actually run ads. So as you can see here, this is actually giving me the traditional interface. You will need to make sure that you set up conversion tracking if you're creating these kind of drive conversions accounts, but essentially your account is set up and you can set up campaigns in here. So guys, that's how you set up an account under an MCC. And in that case, it was pretty straightforward. However, some of you might just want to create an account without doing an MCC, or even if you do create an MCC, you'll see a different interface. So I want to show you what the interface would look like if you are just creating an account from scratch. So just in case, even if you do create an MCC and you see this new interface, I want to show you how to navigate it. So all you do is you click start now at ads.google.com. Cool. So once you log in, you'll click this, create a new Google Ads account. And this is probably what you're going to see the first time you create an account, right? Because in my MCC, we created a bunch of accounts, so that may have changed some stuff. Now, typically what you can do here is you'll probably click on your website. You could also promote your YouTube channel. So what they make you do is create a campaign to actually set up your account, right? So you're going to pause the campaign after you set up the account. So you put in your website. Now, obviously you can click on the video as well. In this case, I just essentially wanted to really get things set up ASAP. So again, just skip all of this. This stuff doesn't matter. I'm in South Africa, so it's showing me South Africa as the country. Again, none of this matters. Just going through it, just setting up that first campaign. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna enter in your billing and your card details. Now, once you do all of that, your campaign will be set up, right? So I actually did have my credit card details in there for you guys. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on this explore this campaign button. And what you want to do is go to settings. This is the first thing you need to do, and switch to expert mode. So this actually makes it a lot easier, because the other mode, the beginner mode, is really just a way for you to lose a lot of money, because with the expert mode, you can actually set campaigns up properly and so on. So anyways, this campaign right here, I'm just gonna pause campaign here. And yeah, there you go. You pause that campaign and then you can set up new campaigns from there. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you set up your Google Ads account. Obviously, you want to add in billing, you want to add in conversion tracking as well, but that's how you get your account set up. All right, guys, so now we move on to the next step of the process, which is actually making your video ad. So it's really, really important on YouTube to create an exceptional video ad, because that's what makes people convert on this platform. YouTube's all about video, and if you have a really low quality video ad, you're not going to do well. So let's talk about how to script your ad. So the first portion of scripting your ad is to have a really strong hook. Now, when I'm shooting ads, I typically do it in a way where I'll have 3 to 4 hooks and then a main body. So the hook is the first 5 to 20 seconds where you really grab their attention, and then I'll shoot a body separately. So even if I have just one body, I'll have 3 or 4 different hooks that allow me to test different angles. Now, what kind of hooks can you use? So a strong hook could be anything from a physical action. So often you'll see in a lot of video ads that people will do something that grabs your attention with a body movement, right? They might be like, hey, hey, hey. Or an example from a client of ours where we actually dropped a brick on a shoe, and that was the introduction to an ad selling indestructible shoes. So with a hook, really, you just want to think about how to grab attention, and there are a million ways to do that. There's saying a controversial statement that most people would probably think is untrue, but then actually providing good reasons to back it up. All right, guys, so let's give you an example. So let's say you're selling these earbuds, and let's say these are earbuds that never fall out. So a good statement or a good interesting hook in the beginning would be a statement like, hey, are you tired of your earbuds falling out? Research has shown that most people lose their expensive earbuds within 6 months of buying them because they fall out. And that's why we came up with these earbuds that have basically been proven to not fall out even while rock climbing. Then you could go into basically showing the earbuds being used in all kinds of extreme situations, like let's say hanging upside down, doing rock climbing, doing calisthenics, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And basically that would be kind of the hook of your ad, right? You're saying something that is a little bit controversial, right? Which is that, hey, these earbuds that you've been buying, you keep losing them, and these manufacturers keep saying that, hey, they'll last forever, but really they only last for 4 to 6 months because they all drop out, right? So that's an example of a good hook where you're basically addressing a problem and saying something a bit controversial to grab their attention. And really, I can't understate this. Your hook is incredibly important for shooting great video ads. Now, after you have your hook, and as I said, shoot multiple of them so you can edit them into your main body, you want to build credibility. You want to actually show them why they should listen to you or your company. So going on with this earbuds example, you may say something like, we are the forever earbud company. And the reason we call it that is because we've paid researchers over $1 million to help build the perfect pair of earbuds that will last for over 5 years and never fall out. There we built some credibility because we said, hey, these earbuds are new, and we've basically paid scientists to build them for us, right? And we've invested over $1 million. So in terms of building credibility, it could be something like that, or it could be something like, hey, we've been featured in Forbes magazine, or we were the top 3 Kickstarter project in 2021, or over 50,000 people have purchased our products, and we have over 4.9 stars on Amazon, right? So credibility can be built in different ways, but earlier in the ad, you really want to keep it to one quick sentence because you don't want to bore them, right? They still don't understand your product that well. So once you've built a bit of credibility, right, by saying one statement, such as we were featured in Forbes, or we've spent over $1 million developing these earbuds, then you actually go into the benefits and what your product does, right? So you would then talk about the problem and agitate it. So problem, agitate, solution, which is basically the problem, which we defined as most earbuds fall out. So most people lose them within 4 to 6 months, and then they end up spending hundreds of dollars a year on earbuds. Then that we agitate it. So we talk about how perhaps over the lifetime of 10 years, the average user will spend $5,000, right? And with $5,000, you could literally have 2 really great 5-star vacations that you're missing out on just because these earbuds keep falling out, right? So you're making the problem more painful. And then solution is talking about how you're solving the problem by creating these earbuds that essentially don't fall out, right? And they don't fall out in all kinds of extreme situations. Show them footage of it being tested in different situations and so on. So you've done that, and now you're ready for the first call to action. So in the first call to action, you tell them, hey, click the link above or below to go onto our website and order our earbuds. And we have, let's say, a 30, 60-day try for free guarantee. If you don't like it, you can return it, right? So that early call to action should be somewhere between 45 seconds in, maybe even 30 seconds in, but essentially you want it to be early. Now, after you get into that, right, because some people will be sold by that point, after that, you may want to go into more benefits, perhaps show more uses and more problems that your earbud solves. So perhaps in the initial 30 to 45 seconds, you focus on the main problem it solves. later on you can focus on secondary problems, right? So you could say something like, so not only are these earbuds going to last you for 5 to 6 years, but they also have excellent audio quality. Just look at our Amazon reviews, and then you could have a screen share of, let's say, people's reviews scrolling by on the video. And in the screen share, you could focus on the ones that focus entirely on the audio experience. So you can kind of focus on that benefit as well. And that actually brings me to the next point, which is, yeah, at this stage of the ad, you should definitely add in more social proof. So we did build some credibility and some authority earlier in the ad, but at this point, you may want to add in a little bit more. So you may want to show them the Amazon reviews. You may want to actually clip in a quick 10-15 second testimonial from a customer. And essentially, you're getting more social proof to overcome skepticism. Also in the stage of ad, you may want to address common objections. So if you have 2 to 3 common objections, you may want to address it here. So people who are on the fence and they're thinking through these objections can actually click through. So an example with these earbuds would be, let's say if a common objection is people don't like earbuds that go into your ear because they feel like it goes in too deep. So you could address that objection by saying, hey, have you ever used a pair of earbuds that feel like they're going into your brain? Ours aren't like that. We've actually designed them where they fit into your ears, but not too deep, because they have this unique suction technology and it feels comfortable. It doesn't get out, but it also doesn't feel like it's drilling into your brain. So that's an example of addressing a common objection. So ultimately, you really want to understand your customer. You're creating like a mini VSL in 2 to 3 minutes. And from there, once you do that, you want to have another call to action. So multiple call to actions are important. You want to tell them, hey, click the link above or below. And then from there, you can have a countdown timer so people have a few more seconds to click through. So that's how you kind of script the ad. I do want to bring up a quick point about the type of business you have and the type of ads you'll shoot. So if you are running a lead gen or an info product business, you could run an ad where basically you have a talking head, right? You have the main person in the business, whether that's you or whether it's an actor, just talking on camera, and it's a pretty simple way to shoot an ad, right? You could even do selfie video ads. So you could literally take your iPhone, have it in front of you. As long as the audio is good, you can shoot it like that. If you're in a more loud location, I'd recommend a lapel mic that can plug into your iPhone. So you can go selfie style, you can have a videographer help shoot it. But really, if you're selling something where you just need to talk in front of the camera, it's quite easy. Now, on the other hand, if you're selling e-commerce products, you need to try a couple different things. The first is you can just take product footage, combine it with B-roll footage, have a voiceover artist, and then combine those 3 elements with the help of a video editor to create your video ad. So for an e-commerce video ad, you would literally follow that script, because what we found is if an ad doesn't have actual audio in terms of a voiceover artist, it doesn't perform as well. On YouTube, people are used to hearing audio and hearing people's voices, right? On Facebook, people often scroll through and they watch videos without listening to the audio. But on YouTube, they always want to actually have somebody there guiding them through the ad. So my recommendation is have a voiceover artist. And that kind of ad only costs a couple $100s to shoot, because you basically have all the footage already. Because I'm guessing if you're selling an e-com product, you have some product footage. If not, it's quite easy to get some videographers to shoot it. And then the editing is relatively affordable as well. Now, if you want to go higher budget, and this is what I recommend if you're scaling your e-commerce business and if you are actually making decent revenue, actually set up a shoot with perhaps a videographer and a camera crew and just have a full-on production. And that's going to require a lot more work both on the scripting and the production side, but it's going to be worth it because those types of ads can often go viral and get a lot more business. Now, a couple key points on the editing side, right? Once you've shot your ads, you do want to make sure you have some editing done in there. So examples of little edits we like to do is adding the countdown timer at the end, adding in arrows to the call to action so people know where to click. And we also do a lot of edits in terms of adding in B-roll footage, perhaps adding in transitions, or even adding text on screen to emphasize key points. So adding in a lot of editing can make the ad engaging. There's a rule from Parker Valbeck that I often use. It's called the 10-second rule. It's really a way to ensure that the ads are engaging. And basically the whole gist is every 10 seconds, there should be some sort of edit or transition, and that keeps the video very fresh and engaging. All right, guys, now let's get into the next part. So I'm going to explain a couple of the ad formats and how they work and what some recent changes are with YouTube ads in 2021 and 2022. So the first thing you want to understand is that nowadays responsive ads are mandatory. So what those look like are right here, I'm going to show you a preview. So with responsive ads, your ads can show up both as video discovery ads and in-stream ads, and it's compulsory now. So essentially, you'll have ads that show up on a mobile homepage like this. You click on this and it will take you to the video, but it will have those links as well. And then this is an in-stream ad, right? So an in-stream ad is going to show up in front of other videos. With a video discovery, it will show up on the homepage and some other places, and in-stream is going to show up in front of other ads. And currently, what's also mandatory is your ads will show up on Google Video Partners. So these are third-party websites. Essentially, think of news websites, other websites where your ad will show up as well. Essentially, what this means is you have to make sure your copy is really good on these ads, because on the in-stream ads, you're not going to have much copy. So it's not that important. However, on the video discovery ads, as you can see, you actually need copy because you have all this extra copy here. So you have this long headline and you have this description. So something that you can do is actually split test different copies. So what I would recommend doing is maybe having the same video ad, but literally split testing 3 or 4 variations of the copy to figure out which ones are doing the best. And in terms of actual analysis, that also affects things because both formats will have different metrics. One last thing before we get into the actual screen share of me setting up the campaigns. So there are 2 main bidding types you're going to be using: target CPA and maximize conversions. Both are good. Maximize conversions are for newer accounts. Target CPA are for more mature accounts, because target CPA essentially gets you better results over the long term. I wouldn't really use maximum CPV, which is the third option. A lot of the YouTube ad gurus and so on talk about it, but really that's outdated. It's 2-3 years old. Focus on maximize conversions when you're starting your account. After you've had 100, 150 conversions, start doing more target CPA. And target CPA is where we've been able to scale our ad accounts to $15,000, $20,000 a day. So guys, let's get into the screen share. Okay guys, now let's quickly talk about tracking. I'm not going to bore you guys with super technical tracking details, but I'm just going to give you the basics that you need to be able to really get the tracking down. So the tools we're going to use here, Google Ads conversion tracking. Now, basically with the tracking, what you essentially can do is you can set up conversions with Google Ads conversions. So you go to this tools and settings, you click on conversions, and then you will click the plus button, and usually it's going to be a website conversion, right? So let's say you can either do leads, or you can, for example, if somebody is opted in, you can put them as a contact, right? And if somebody purchased, you can put them as a purchase. So for example, let's say they're a lead. So we'll call this lead opted in, right? Usually I don't use a value for leads, and I click on this one, right? Because really a person could opt in multiple times, but we really only count the first one. And yeah, we keep the click through and the view through at 30 days and 1 day. And you would click create and continue. Now at this point, there's a few options, right? If you have a web developer, you can email the tag, you can install the tag yourself, which is the manual way. What I suggest is Google Tag Manager. So using Google Tag Manager allows you to really install tags really easily. So what Google Tag Manager is, it's basically a tool that allows you to place different tags, and tags are things like Facebook pixel, the Google conversion tracking pixel, the Google remarketing tag. And with Google Tag Manager, you install it once on your website, right? So let's say you use ClickFunnels, look up how to set up Google Tag Manager on ClickFunnels, set it up once, and then you just go in here and you can basically add tags in here. So instead of having to go inside the website and then hard coding each conversion each time you want to do it, you just go in here, add in a new tag. Let's say it's the Google Ads conversion tracking ad tag. All that you'll do is you'll go here, you'll copy conversion ID, bam, conversion label. It's just so easy with Google Tag Manager. And then you'll figure out the triggers. So if, for example, usually you'll trigger a lead on the thank you page after they opt in. So you'll have an opt-in and then you'll take them to a thank you page. So what you'll do is you'll add a new trigger, and let's say visited thank you page for a lead. Click here, page view, and only on some page views. And then you would do, page URL. and then you would add in, let's say, thank you page lead form. Now, obviously, I'm not going to save this because, as you can tell, we have a pretty complex tracking system. I don't want to mess it up and get my tracking guy angry at me, but you get the idea, right? Now, let's talk about how to set up campaigns and the various targeting options with YouTube ads, right? So I'm going to show you how this whole thing works, right? So what you do is you click on a new campaign. You're going to go click on either sales or leads. It really doesn't make too much of a difference. You're going to click on video, and you're going to get this drive conversions. And you'll name your campaign whatever you want to name it. Typically, I'll put in the targeting and the funnel I'm sending them to, as well as the name of ads I'm basically targeting. So, and also put in the date. So I'll do something like put usually the date first, so it's easy to see. And then the bidding types. So there are two main bidding types you want to keep in mind. There's target CPA and there's maximize conversion. So I'll put in something like target CPA. So that means that it's basically what Google's going to try to do is get you conversions at a certain cost per conversion with target CPA. With maximize conversions, it's better for newer accounts, but it can cost more. So let's just say I'm going to do target CPA to get started. If you're just starting out, I would do maximize conversions. So, and then you would do, let's say, your targeting options. So one targeting option could be YouTube advertising keywords, right? Keywords, and then let's say I'm going to put in 3 ads into it. So I'll call this multiple ads because I'm going to put 3 ads into this campaign. So with target CPA, there's typically going to be a bid. So I'm going to put in a $20 target CPA. And I'm kind of telling Google that, hey, I'm willing to pay $20 for a conversion. Now, it doesn't mean that conversions will come in for $20. A lot of times they can come in for lower. So it's something to keep in mind. This is where you set the daily budget. I typically will start campaigns at anywhere from $25 to $50. I'll put in $50. Typically, Google will tell you to spend a lot more budget. However, in my experience, it's better to start with a small budget. If a campaign goes well, you can always increase it. But in my experience, it's always better to be a little bit more conservative. So a pretty big change that's happened recently is you're not able to unselect video partners on the display network. Now, this basically means that your ad will show up on third-party websites, right? Not just on YouTube. And this could be websites like CNN.com, it could be random bloggers websites, etc. So just a heads up on this. This is a recent change and you can't really unselect this. And honestly, I don't really know a workaround other than reusing old campaigns. So just reusing old campaigns and changing the audience and ad on them, but keeping them as they are, or using Google Ads Editor, which I have a video on the channel if you look up YouTube Google Ads Editor tutorial. And with Google Ads Editor, we're still able to duplicate campaigns and keep them without the display network. I'm sure that will go away soon, so don't assume that it's going to be around for long. But yeah, that's just a heads up on that. I would just put in English if you're targeting the English market. And inventory type, I like expanded because I don't really care if my ads show up in front of, a violent video or whatever. For me, it doesn't make a difference. However, if you're working for a brand that really cares about that, I would choose standard or limited inventory. Now, you can also decide where you want to show up or not show up. Typically, live streaming videos might be a good idea to kind of block those, because if people are live streaming something, people are not going to want to really watch a long ad. And yeah, other than that, if you're trying to avoid showing in front of mature audiences, you can do that. Typically, again, as I said, I don't really care too much, so I'll just have live streaming videos in there. You can use these site link extensions. We've tested these. You'll want to make sure that you can't send them to the same page you're sending your ad to. So if your ad URL is, let's say, linxdigitalagency.com/case study, you can't send them to the same URL. So what you could do here is you could send them to a frequently asked questions or tips and tricks or another page that's kind of relevant, and then you can get a higher click-through rate with this. So site link extensions can often work quite well if you know what you're doing with them. So this is the product feed. You can show basically products with your ads. This is more for an e-commerce feature. So that's something to keep in mind if you're doing e-commerce. I'll usually do account level conversion settings. I may exclude TV screens because it's kind of hard to click on TV screens. In terms of frequency capping, I will do this. I will typically put in, let's say in terms of impressions per day, 3 impressions per day and then 2 per week. That's a decent number. It makes sure that your ads are not showing to the same people like bazillion times. And yeah, you can even have an ad schedule so you can decide when your ads show up. So I'm going to cut into Past Shash again for another quick update. So back in the day, you could actually choose between responsive and in-stream. So in the past, you would see this. And what this would be is you would be able to choose between responsive and standard. And now you can only choose responsive. And what this essentially means is your ads will show up either as video discovery or in-stream, but you can't basically choose which one. Now, this isn't a big deal. We're getting really good results with responsive campaigns, so we're not really worried about it. In one of our accounts, they're outperforming the in-stream ads quite a bit. So there isn't that much of a downside to this, right? Yes, it is less control, but many people are making it out to be the end of YouTube ads. And in reality, that's not the truth. You just have to get used to the new format, and we'll go over the new format later in this video. And same thing here with your ad group name. You can name the ad group. Typically what we'll do is we'll have 1 campaign, 1 ad group, and 3 to 4 different ads in there. So the demographics also are a really useful option here. So for example, if you're selling a high ticket info product, you're probably gonna not sell to 18 to 24-year-olds, and you probably want to exclude the lower 50% of household income. So we'll play around and test this, but typically we find for high ticket offers, we will either go top 30% or top 50%. And one thing to keep in mind is that household income is only in certain countries, and it's really a lot more accurate in the US. In certain countries like Brazil, for example, it's there, but it's not as accurate. Now with YouTube, there are a bunch of different targeting options, right? So you have a lot of these audiences. So with audiences, you have multiple types, right? So there is remarketing and similar audiences. So this is basically YouTube's version of remarketing and lookalikes. So remarketing is basically, let's say, people who've already interacted with your YouTube channel or your website or your email list, right? People you've uploaded. The other option is similar audiences, which is people that are similar to other people who've taken action. So it's people who are similar to your YouTube viewers, people who are similar to converters, people who are similar to website visitors. So that's kind of Google's version of lookalike audiences. We haven't had amazing success with them, but they're worth testing out, especially if you can layer them with something else to make them narrower. So an incredible custom audience that you can use is custom intent audiences, which are basically based on what they're searching on google.com. So in our case, as you can see, if they're searching for YouTube advertising, we can target them on YouTube with that custom audience. So that's a really cool targeting idea. Optimized targeting is a new feature. What it does, it uses your landing page information, your website, etc., to help optimize your ads. You can disable this after. We haven't really tested this because it's a very new feature, so we're still the jury's still out on this. Now, there are more targeting options, right? There's actually, even in audiences, there's a lot more audiences in here, right? So on top of these custom audiences, there's in-market and life events. So in-market is when they're searching for something. So for example, they could be looking for certain business services. So if you're, let's say, an staffing and recruitment company, there is an audience for people who are looking for staffing and recruitment services. So again, this is a really, really useful targeting option. So with life events, you can target people who are looking at creating new businesses, look at people who just graduated college, people who are renovating their home or are going to renovate it, even marriage, moving, people who've gotten a new pet or a new cat or dog, people who are buying a home soon, right? So there's a gold mine of targeting options here. And then you also have other options like keywords, where basically you target YouTube videos based on their metadata. So if a YouTube video has a certain title and you, let's say, put in let's say e-commerce advertising. So YouTube will go out and find videos related to e-commerce advertising and show your ad in front of those videos. So that's one option. So topics are basically videos about certain subjects. So then YouTube will show your videos in front of certain topics. So as you can see, if I wanted to, I could click business and industrial, and then I can go down here and go into advertising and marketing. And then I can target people who are watching videos about email marketing or direct mail marketing. And there's so many of these. So there's like SEO services, I believe, as well. And then the last one is placements. So placements allows you to target channels and videos that are about specific targeting. So one really great tool we use is this tool called TubeSift. So you can log in here. You can actually put in a keyword and it will give you a bunch of videos about that topic. So let's say we want dieting tips for keto, right? Let's say you have a keto product that helps you lose weight. So now you have a bunch of really popular videos that are about keto and weight loss, and you can basically show your ad in front of these videos. So let's say you're selling a high-ticket coaching program on how to scale your Amazon business. So let's say scale Amazon business. You can enter that keyword. And now you're getting a bunch of videos that are all about scaling Amazon. It does take a little bit of time to pull up these results, but you can just let this run on the background. And once this is done, get the links from here, cut, go into enter, paste, and then you have your placements. Now you're targeting videos about Amazon. Perfect. And then you would throw your ad in here. Okay, so now we're actually going to show you how to set up your ad. So the first thing you need to do is actually go into YouTube and get your ad URL. Now, if you haven't uploaded your ad already, what you can do is click this plus button, click upload video. So you'll need to create a YouTube account, which you can do with any Gmail account. But then you go in there, click that button, upload video, set it as unlisted, and then grab this URL here and go inside Google Ads and put it in here, right? So what you're going to see here is in the past, you could choose between responsive and in-stream, and now it's only responsive, which means you have both video discovery ads. So this is a video discovery ad. And then you also have the in-stream format, which is this right here, which is the traditional YouTube ad. Now, we've had great results with both formats, so this is completely normal. Do not worry about it. You'll still get great results with YouTube ads, but there are a few key differences. The first thing you'll notice is there's a lot less copy on the in-stream format. On the in-stream format, what you have here is this headline right here. And then you also have this call to action button. And then obviously you'll have your display URL, your final URL, etc. But you're not going to have these two right here. These are just for the responsive format. So if you look at this responsive format, you will see that this is the long headline and this is our description. So this gives you a lot of copy. And what you can do with this is you can actually split test the copy here and be able to really increase click-through rates by split testing ad copy. Now, keep in mind with this current format with video action ads, which is, basically target CPA and maximize conversions, you are not going to have video discovery on the desktop. On desktop, all you're going to have is in-stream. So if you try to click on video discovery on desktop, all you see is in-stream right here. And that's how that works. Another thing to keep in mind is your ads will show up on Google Video Partners. Like we discussed, that is compulsory and you don't have the option to change that now. So what you're going to have to do is essentially make sure to take a look at how your ad looks like on the Video Partners side. So over here, you can see that on mobile, you have the video discovery option as well as the in-stream option. So these will show up on third-party websites. So for example, this in-stream ad will show up in front of videos in other websites, while this may show up on other pages on their website as well. So these are going to show up in third-party websites. Just keep that in mind. On the desktop version of Google Video Partners, you're only going to have it show up as in-stream in front of videos. So if you're, for example, you're on a news site and you click on a video, you may actually get shown an in-stream ad. Now, one last thing to keep in mind is you can also create a companion banner. So a companion banner is basically an image or a group of images that you can upload. Essentially with in-stream ads, what it does is if you go on YouTube and in-stream, this is where your companion banner is going to show up. And that's why the format is 300 by 60. And then that's going to increase your click-through rates if you have a really great companion banner right here. I would typically recommend using something that kind of summarizes what your ad is and like the main call to action. So something like click below to get your free training, and then they can go get the free training. So another last key piece of advice I want to give you guys is to name the ad properly. With this ad, for example, since it's this script and storyboard ad, I have that in the name and I keep it consistent between campaigns. If I'm using this ad in a bunch of different campaigns, I'm going to keep it with that same name because that will make analysis much easier. And that's it, guys. When you click this, you will create your first YouTube ads campaign. Now, in the next part of the video, we're going to talk about how you can analyze your results for a campaign and use that data to make better decisions. All right, so once you've actually set up your campaigns and you have had a few days, then you'll want to look at your campaigns to see what performance is like. So I'm looking at one of my campaigns, and one of the things you want to look at is, let's say, your cost per lead. If you're running a VSL funnel where you're sending traffic to VSL, you want to understand your cost per lead, and you want to really aim for under, $15 if you can. $20 okay, $15 is great. $10 and lower for high ticket coaching is awesome. Now, if you're in a niche like health and fitness, you'll probably want to be aiming for $3 to $5, or if you're in a niche like music coaching, etc. Right? So depending on your niche, your cost per lead could be anywhere from $3 to like $25, right? Ultimately, what matters is how much revenue you make from that lead, and that's why some niches are more expensive than others. Now, a few things you want to take a look at is I've also have a custom conversion set up for book calls and the book calls cost per acquisition. So we're getting $173 per book call, which is I'm pretty happy with. And then a few other metrics you want to look at is if you click on these columns, you want to have a click-through rate, you want to have cost per click and average cost per view. So those are also important to take a look at. So the reason I like looking at click-through rate is it tells me how well the ad is doing. So we're getting a 2.96% click-through rate, which tells me the ad is hitting with the audience and people like this video ad. Our cost per click is pretty high because this is a competitive niche. Average cost per view is also quite high because, once again, this is a competitive niche, right? But yeah, overall, I'm decently happy with the performance of this campaign. So that gives you an idea of how to optimize your campaigns. Now from here, what you can do is you can go into the ad level. In this case, we only have one ad, but if you have multiple ads, you can take a look at the performance of each ad and how they're doing. So yeah, that's pretty much how to analyze your campaigns. And once you've got your first campaign set up, then all you have to do is just test more targeting options and test more ads. And then you're off to the races with YouTube ads. And yeah, you could make it work quite well for you. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that free YouTube ads course on how to get your first YouTube ad campaign set up. If you want to actually learn how to scale your YouTube ads, you can go check out our YouTube ads coaching program. There'll be a link below. We've helped our students generate over $10 million with YouTube advertising. We have people making millions of dollars with YouTube ads in our program. So there's a link below where you can check out some of the results, see what's inside the program, and get informed on that. Now, if you're actually looking for somebody to run your ads so you don't have to worry about it, we have a done-for-you agency offer. This is a done-for-you agency offer where we've generated $30 million in revenue for clients like Amazing Selling Machine, Kino Body, Helium 10, Valiant Consultants, and many more. So if you're interested in learning about that, there will be another link to check out our agency services. All right, guys, the next video I want you to check out is our YouTube ads targeting guide video where we actually get deeper into the targeting. This is really important because there's just so much in terms of YouTube ads targeting. I couldn't cover it all this video. I kind of gave you the basics, but I would love for you to go check out that video where I cover all the different targeting types you can use.